24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salaam Radio.
This is indeed Salaam Radio. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm just going to try the phone to see if I've got friend of the show, Rashid Ansari, on the phone. Rashid, are you there?
You're welcome, Salaam. Yeah.
Oh, good to hear your voice, mate.
Sorry? Likewise, how you guys doing?
Yeah, well, you say guys, but there's only one guy in the studio right now. I'm sure I'm going to be joined by the more than capable Sadat, the less than punctual, but certainly more than capable Sadat. He should be on his way now. Rashid, it's been a while. We've not been on air for a little while for various reasons. Obviously, we've had some technical issues in the studio, and we've had some upgrade to some of the equipment. We've also got a new station manager. Very, very keen young man, Ali. Ali's doing a fantastic job. But also just a lack of availability. I've had a bit of holiday. I'm sure all of our listeners have had a chance to enjoy some of the sunshine as well. But how have you been? What's been keeping you interested? Without talking immediately about the sport that we're going to cover, but I'm guessing you've been following the transfer market quite closely. Yeah,
there's a lot going on. Lots going on in the football world. You've got all the transfers going. You've got all the friendlies being played. You know, there was a particular Liverpool United game. We'll talk about that later.
Do we have to talk about that?
They said it was a charity shield. Nunes versus Haaland.
Oh yeah, the first major trophy of the year has been decided. Yeah, absolutely. We should definitely talk about the first major trophy of the year being decided.
Should we talk about their nicknames and give them on WhatsApp? Nunes and Haaland.
Yeah, we should absolutely do that. Before we get into the meat of the show, I'd like to welcome Sadat to the studio. Sadat, our show starts at 3. You should be here at 2:45. If the directors are listening, it's really bad form by our presenter. I got here 15 minutes earlier so I could climb the stairs with my broken foot.
I went round yours to pick you up. I thought,
No, you didn't. You absolutely didn't. Sorry, I'll put your microphone on. I forgot you were here. So Sadat, welcome to the show. How have you been?
Not bad. Sorry,
You're out of breath.
I'm out of breath.
What's going on? What have you been doing?
Well, I forgot the way in. It's been a while since I've been in the studio. I went to the old studio.
That is a shoddy excuse. So we've got a fairly packed show today. We're going to be talking about a number of things. One thing which, Rashid, I know you've been following.
Hang on, first thing, Image, can you give us an update about your health and what happened to your foot, your Achilles?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's...
Oh, don't let him milk it. Did he pay you to ask you that question?
Rashid's a good friend of mine. Rashid's my former manager. He knows I don't cry. Well, I broke a collarbone and still took a penalty before walking off the pitch.
And you missed?
No, I scored. I don't miss penalties.
Two pens that game.
Yeah, I don't miss penalties, so that you should know that. I've snapped my Achilles tendon. I was playing football and I got a little bit tired, and then I overexerted myself and I had a pop. I took it into A&E and they've seen that there's a 2 centimetre gap in my Achilles.
2 centimetres?
Yeah, so they put me in a cast, and then I went to the hospital on Monday and they've got me in a Robocop boot, which I could try and show the listeners, but I think I might hurt myself. So yeah, that's that. I don't know. Sadat, have you had any major injuries that have stopped you from?
No. I've had things to stop me from playing. It's like the coaches, the chairmans, and all that stuff, but no major injuries.
So, studio manager, are we Facebook Live? We are Facebook Live, right? Okay, I need to find it and share it.
You're talking about the first major trophy as I was running upstairs.
But before we go into that, what are we going to cover on the show today? So that's
cricket.
We've
got Commonwealth today, Pakistan versus India. I don't know if that's happened actually. I don't know what time that was supposed to start. They were playing today in the Commonwealth.
You following that at all, Rashid? Pakistan, India.
Yeah. That's not be the women's T20 game, wouldn't it?
Is it the women's, the Pakistan versus India? I thought it was the men's.
No, there's no men's. There's no men's.
I said that like I knew that. Yeah, there's no men's cricket. What are you talking about, man?
Oh, I just saw Pakistan versus India.
So Sully's got some comments in already. Sully Hussain Qureshi is saying, Nunez, hope you recover, Imtiaz. And Ishfaq Ali has said, have you lost weight? Said Akram.
Yes, I have.
He has.
Just run up the stairs.
Very nice you to notice. So we'll talk a little bit about are we going to talk about the Commonwealth Games?
Well, no, it was just the cricket was on. I thought it was because it's very rare Pakistan plays India.
Did you see the Bangladesh team come out
No.
at the Commonwealth Games? Rashid, did you see that?
Yeah,
They didn't look very athletic, did they?
They didn't look like the
There were all
Punjab police,
these,
did
there were
they?
all these motus walking. There was all these motus walking around.
It's like the
playing women.
Punjab police in Pakistan that come out.
Yeah. There's a few girls that look like they were athletic. They look like they were slim enough to be doing like track events or something. But the guys, unless they're doing like shooting or archery or something, I don't know what they're representing their country for.
Probably shot put.
Yeah, sure. and it's not even like they're gonna be able to do a runner because they're not going to run very far, are they? Sorry. Right.
Shocking.
Yeah, that's awful. It's really bad. Right, moving on. So we've got obviously the football charity shield. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the big
cricket,
transfers.
not just obviously the Commonwealth, but the racism, obviously, unfortunately, continuing on saga, Scotland.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been England, New Zealand, there's been England, South Africa currently, and then there was England, India in between, there's Pakistan, Sri Lanka, India have been playing as well. So there's lots of international cricket which we've been able to go over. With the tennis, we missed out on the Wimbledon final.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyrgios. I'm a massive fan of Kyrgios. We'll talk a little bit about Kyrgios as well because
Sort of a bromance going on at the end of that game, wasn't there, between him and Djokovic?
Yeah, a little bit. Anybody following the Live Golf?
No.
Live Golf, Rashid?
Well, no, I'm just hoping I can get a contract from them, that's all.
Literally, I'm desperate to get some kind of broadcasting contract with them. And this is the thing, we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk in the second half about the prospects of the Big Six teams. And I don't even know what the Big Six teams are nowadays. But it's moved around. But we'll go through and talk about a number of teams on football.
Yeah, I'm not avoiding that topic, as Suleiman saying on Facebook.
And Ronaldo.
After beating Liverpool 4-1 in the pre-season.
Ronaldo, yeah, we've absolutely got to talk about Ronaldo. Sorry, what did Sully say?
Suleiman says, Sadat is trying to ignore the football topic. Would I dare? Would I dare ignore the football topic?
You never know. I don't know. He's all right.
Oh, you're just happy because Liverpool won the charity
We
shield.
won another trophy, yeah.
Another trophy. Wasn't it in the past 10 seasons? Only one team who's won the charity shield has gone on to win the Premier League?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you saying? Liverpool are not going to win the Premier League?
I'm just saying that get your hopes up high over a World Cup game.
Yeah.
We all know, and we should all admit Liverpool is a great cup team.
Right. Yeah. Not a great league team.
How many Premier Leagues have they won?
One in the last 3 years.
In the last 3 years?
Yeah, they've definitely won.
Why don't just do one in the last 2 years?
One in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
One in the last 31 years. So now we'll come back to the football. But I want to start, and as much as I don't want to, I want to start on this a report into Scottish cricket and the findings of that report. Basically, you know what, for a layman, and Rashid, I know you can dig down a little bit deeper, and you've obviously read the report in full, front to back, and made fantastic notes. But for a layman, basically, Scottish Cricket Board are racist.
Yeah, they're institutionally racist. There are 31 indicators of what institutional racism.
So there's 31 things that people check against to say, you know what, to what extent are you racist? Yeah.
Yeah. On a positive note, they didn't fail on two of them.
Red, amber. You're graded red, amber. Or
Yeah.
green.
So it's all color coded. Yeah.
They were fine. Amber, there's concerns, and red, you failed.
Clearly
failed.
Yeah.
Out of those 31, the Scotland Cricket Board got 29 reds, and then the two, they got ambers on.
Ambers.
So 0 greens out of 31 indicators.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd go so far as to say that doesn't even happen by accident. Like, you've got to intentionally, purposefully, deliberately actually try and be racist for you to score so highly on the racism
leading wicket
test.
taker is an Asian for the Scottish national team.
That's not even surprising. I'm not even surprised. So the fallout of that obviously is resignations at the top level, resignation of
the whole board.
The entire board rather cowardly resigned the day before the report was released.
But somebody's obviously leaked it.
They've always told them,
somebody's leaked it, right?
They told them you only got 2 ambers.
So we found institutionally racist, so they all said, right, we're legging it.
Yeah, well, the thing with these reports is, like, people work on them and then they'll have back and forth, right? And they'll say, this is where we're currently landing. And then you try and argue your case and they tell you, no, you're not really arguing your case. And then this is where we're landing on this indicator and that indicator. And as time went by, they would have seen this is going to look really, really bad. So actually, it was very cowardly because they would have known what this report was going to look like maybe 2 weeks ahead of publication. It's not like they decided on all the ratings a day before. The ratings would have been decided over a period of weeks and months.
They would have been told before.
They would have been told, yeah.
Yeah.
So they need because the organisation that was asked to do the review after Majid Haq and the other Pakistani, the Pakistani or background cricketer, that they both came out and then they said, look, we've been, we were racially discriminated against.
Yeah.
It was Plan for Sport was asked to do the inquiry, to do the report, the investigation.
Sure.
And so one of the basic things is what they call a desktop review is basically look at all the documents that organisation has produced and whatever, and then they looked at over 140 documents that were provided by Cricket Scotland itself, and see how if there's anything in there that supported equality, diversity, and inclusion, right?
Yeah.
And of all the documents, 76% of those documents were rated red, basically that there was nothing to do with equity, diversity.
Well, I mean, just to
and
put
only 3% passed it. Only 3% of all the documents passed that test. There's something with about promoting equality, diversity, inclusion. So if as an organisation, if only 3% of your documents, your formal documents that you send out, you tell, all the cricketers.
But just to, Rashid, just to put a bit of colour on what you're saying, because I completely agree, and I think so that's nodding as well. But I mean, you gave us a few notes, and this one really hit home. This was a text that you composed. Basically, he's talking about the different aspects that they looked at, and the first two aspects is procedures and case management. For procedures. It says, and I'm just going to read this is what you've put into our group chat, but procedures, it says, most procedures included within the organisation do not consider equality, diversity, inclusion or anti-racism, nor do they adequately include guidance relating to EDI or anti-racism practices or avoiding any forms of discrimination. And you're thinking, okay, that's not great, that's not ideal, could be a potential oversight. But then you go into case management and it says no information has been provided to facilitate a review of the management of non-recent cases. So not only are they're failing and they're rubbish, but then when this report's being compiled, obviously somebody's knocked on the door and said, hey, can we have a look at some of the cases that you've dealt with? And they've just aired them. They've just completely ignored them. They've not even engaged with the process. And that's incredibly disrespectful.
All they said, they've not had, or people have reported cases. They've ignored the cases. There's no official documentation.
Yeah. It's like I put in a report for racism, and they're like, "Oh, thanks for reporting it," and it doesn't go into a directory or a database, and it doesn't get escalated. There's no organisation. There's no part of the organisation that's going to look into it. There's no formal investigation.
No filing system. No nothing.
No nothing. It's shambolic, isn't it?
Thanks for letting us know.
I mean, and I'm sure like this Scotland cricket, they must be getting millions, possibly tens of millions to grow the game in Scotland. And for them to be so lackadaisical in this respect, it beggars belief.
This is the thing. That's just the other one side. On the other side of it, when this is about the participants, because they asked anybody and everybody, and then they did bring people in, people who have played the game currently, and they said participants. Salaam Sports heard a range of examples of racism experienced by participants across all areas of cricket, leading to referrals being shared directly to Police Scotland as hate crimes.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's if you're that weak that you've got zero support for your own staff, your own players, that the police have to get involved. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I'm just going to read a little bit more. It says the 31 allegations of racism include racial abuse, the use of inappropriate language, favoritism to young white children from public schools, lack of transparent selection process for non-white players. I mean, and I'm sorry, Sadat, I know you're going to say it. Go on, say it.
Go on.
You're going to say we've seen this all before. Yeah. And we still see it.
And we see it from grassroots.
Yeah. So it's not, Rashid, I mean...
in society, everywhere. And then we were saying, we're doing well against racism. No, we're not.
Right, so we've got...
We're pushing it under the carpet well.
Rashid, you've probably heard about the cricket club we've recently opened, Grassroots Cricket Club here in Peterborough, CC Cricket Club Peterborough. And it's obviously organised by our lot, us lot. But this is because there was one team in Peterborough, a team called Peterborough Town. And they used to recruit all the cricketers around. Now, it's such a popular sport with people from the subcontinent. So pretty much 60 to 70% of their intake at ages 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 were Asian children. And their parents were paying £50 a month and getting them to train once a week and hopefully get into a team. And the moment those guys started turning 14, 15, 16, the Asian players started getting overlooked. and the lesser able non-Asian players were being selected to represent the seconds and then represent the firsts and go on a pathway and get a player contract and be pushed forward for England. And these teams have got fantastic performances and results and records throughout youth cricket. But then when it got to like 14, 15, the players that were selected were not the ones responsible for that fantastic record. And it happened time and time again. So as shocking as this report is, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but it's just way too familiar.
Yeah.
That's it, absolutely. And the thing is, Peterborough has a substantive amount of its percentage population of ethnic minority background,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. We've got about 15%, I think 20%.
And if that's not then seen in, for example, in the local cricket clubs and the football clubs, right? You're not getting particular percentages of ethnic minority backgrounds, right? Even if it's, say, like you said, if it's 15%, and you don't even have 7% of local sports clubs have people from ethnic minority background, then that's a genuine issue. Why not? And that, therefore, the local authorities and sporting bodies that fund these small clubs, whatever, they should be asking these clubs what the hell is going on.
Look, I think
there's just no integration at all, even on grassroots levels. You have these clubs.
Whose fault is
you
that?
have. Look, why do we have to do an? It wasn't attended, but an Asian club, shall we say?
Yes.
Because the Asian players were getting ignored. They weren't getting selected. The kids were just not playing football.
They were being exploited. They were being exploited.
Yeah, and for us to have such high numbers of Asian players, where were they before? We didn't take them from any other clubs.
Yeah. So I mean, we certainly did take a few.
And it's not just the Asians. There are Eastern Europeans. They had to then obviously create their own club because they just. The whole society here, they just want to stick to their own and they just don't integrate as much, be it in schools, be it in society, work, everywhere. It's just, I'm going to go on a ramble, but it's just disgusting. It's shocking. What is it shocking?
You know what you say about stick to your own? I think there's an element of truth in that, but often that's used as a get-out clause by people who are being, exercising discriminatory practices, because they'll say, Asian kids don't like playing in teams with this.
No, they've had to. But like I said, why would we get so much high numbers at FC Peterborough if they were playing in other clubs?
If the environment was open and inclusive,
exactly.
There would be zero reason.
And with all due respect, when some of our players who have been good enough to go onto Peterborough football club itself,
Peterborough United,
Peterborough United, they've come back because they're not being felt like they're inclusive in there, and they've been treated like outsiders, and then it's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's not a lesson for the community to learn. It's a lesson for the FA to learn and the ECB to learn, because you look at Rashid, you're obviously very familiar with the situation across Europe with former Arab players growing up in their now new country, adopted country, and going on to play internationally. Like the French national team is pretty much it's basically Africa 11. You've got fantastic Albanians playing for the Swiss, and you've got fantastic Arab players playing.
You
all
have
across
these
Europe.
reports come out. You have it again every 2-3 years or every year, whatever it is, and it's, yes, we've got to do something right. Let's get a report. Let's put an Asian person in charge. Let's at the Yorkshire, so run the board. Let's do it all. Yeah, we're doing things about 2-3 years later.
Yep.
Same thing again, and it's just a vicious cycle. Keep playing and go. I mean, Vaughan. Michael Vaughan,
it's disgusting that he's back on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Again,
disgusting.
Nothing's happened.
Yep,
right?
Completely agree.
And you've got three or four individuals? But obviously, it was Rashid. No, yeah, it was the main player who said he did it, but then it was the two Pakistani players who confirmed that they heard him say that, and it was never taken any further.
There's too many of your lot, we need to get rid of them. That's what Vaughan basically said. And there was four Pakistani-based players who witnessed it, and then 3 have come out and confirmed that, he did, including Rana Naveed Al-Hassan.
Rana Naveed, that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Raj, like in FC Peterborough, in our history, we've had like about 14, 15 different cases of racism that we've reported and taken as far as we possibly could, right?
Yeah.
And there's only been one.
Let's not get started.
There's only been one case that has been proven guilty of racism, and that was against one of our managers, against a white player. So the only racism they've found.
Again, that's not. See, the problem not only is just about saying that there's not enough players. And the reason there aren't many players is because there's a culture, system, and structure.
Absolutely.
Systems and structures, and there's a culture that supports that. So when all of these clubs and whatever organisations are set up, people running them you won't find hardly any people of ethnic minority backgrounds on them. At best, you might get one token one on there. And also, when you have all of these disciplinary boards that set up, right? Who are on them? Who makes the decisions? Who runs those? Again, you won't find anybody of any.
How's this for a quote, Rashid? How's this for a quote? The quote that I'm going to give you is from an elderly gentleman that was a member of the board that was investigating a claim of racism, and he said, "We're not racist. Before you lot joined, we didn't have any racism." I swear he said this. He goes, "Before you lot joined our leagues, we had 0 cases." And I'm like,
if you had a mono-ethnic league,
yes, exactly.
A league of white people, and therefore you're not going to get racism white against unless they're of Eastern European background.
We've got a hi coming in from Guishan. Guishan's enjoying the show. Hello, Guishan. Thank you for texting. We're going to move on. I really didn't want this to be the type of show that we ran as our first show back, but we are going to move on. We're going to move on very, very quickly to Live Golf. If anybody else is following this, are you following this at all?
No.
Right, let me tell you.
Tell me about it.
The PGA Tour, they're the ones that make the golf game with EA Sports on the PlayStation. You know that fantastic game. They're basically
EA
on
Sports.
EA, exactly. It's in the game. So they're the big tour, right? They pay 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 million pound purses for prizes. So if you win, you probably get $3 million. If you come second, you get 1.5. If you get all the way down to the top 70, you get paid. But you don't get paid just for being there. You get paid only if you finish in the top 70, right?
Right.
The Live Tour's come along and started poaching players. They've started signing players to play on the
is this
Live
a
Tour.
different tournament?
Brand new tour. Not tournament, tour.
Tour.
So
Okay,
tour is
sorry.
we're going to have 8 events over the year. Next year they're going to move it up to 14. And each of those events...
We touched on this last time, didn't we?
Who's funding that tour?
The Saudis are funding the tour.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's disgusting to be using Saudi money, right? However, the European Tour and the PGA Tour play events out in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi's money. We're using Saudi's money.
Yeah.
Well, how are they good?
Yeah,
How
exactly.
could we?
Exactly. But the big news is they're continually signing big name players. So they've got Phil Mickelson, he's been there for a while. They've got Henrik Stenson, who was the European Ryder Cup captain. And he changed his schedule, and then the Ryder Cup team of Europe sacked him as a manager, as a captain, and they've appointed Luke Donald. These guys have now got Graham
So I'm
McDowell
assuming
on.
this tour they're getting more money.
Much more money, like just to play on the tour.
Just to play.
They'll sign you up for
and then
50
if you're
million.
the top, whatever.
I'll give you an example. Is it Hideki Matsuyama? Hideki Matsuyama just got signed by the Live Tour for $400 million. Do you know how much money that is? That's more money than Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth have earned in golf winnings in their whole careers.
Wow.
And he's got that just to sign on.
Wow.
That's the difference here. So if the PGA Tour don't want to work with them, the PGA Tour's dead. I'm sorry to say. It's inevitable. And there's all these different complications, like if you play for a Live Tour event and let's say you win it, do you get golf ranking points? You know, the official world golf rankings? Are the official world golf rankings going to start including Live Tour events? And at the moment, they're not.
They're not.
At the moment, they're not. So the only events that Live Tour players play in that qualify for official world golf ranking events is the majors. So they play in the PGA, or they play in the Open, or they play in the US Open. And even those, the PGA
the more
Tour,
people moving over to Live, I'm assuming that's going to have to change.
that's going to absolutely have to change. Yeah. And it's something that they've put another application in. So basically,
more importantly, gentlemen,
sorry,
to get football and more importantly, gentlemen, to get football and cricket, get your kids into playing golf.
get your kids to play. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Golf is the money sport.
That's true.
Sorted out.
It's incredible.
Ooh.
It's incredible, like the amount of
Look
money.
at the money to
that's
get the
right
golf equipment first. It's the most expensive
now.
sport.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take out a small mortgage,
Mortgage,
just to get the kids to the clubs. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
To accumulate, you got to speculate, right?
This is it. So let's move on.
I'll tell you what, let's all chip in, and I think mine's the kids are the youngest. Let's invest in them, and then if they're doing, I'll share it out to you lot.
Enough with all this racism, right? Close down our football clubs and cricket clubs. Open up golf clubs.
Yeah, just open up golf academies, man. Just be like, you know what? We're just going to produce
We need
like a
some
production
coaches,
line.
other than Imtiaz and
on the
who else
women,
plays
on the
golf?
ladies PGA tour, the LPGA, pretty much like 8 out of the top 10 or 8 out of the top 20 women are from Southeast Asia. They're from mainly South Korea, occasionally Japan, Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia. Fantastic players because there's just a production line, and the coverage of the ladies golf is incredible. Like when they've got a white British or a white American woman anywhere near the top, the cameras are on her, and everyone's like, "Oh, she's doing fantastic." But when it's like a South Korean, another South Korean is taking the lead, and you're like, "Come on, man!" Like, these players are individuals, right? But it just needs to get bunched up. So it's
it's a bit like any of this. Well, the tennis, Rosetsky, he was from Canada, but he was British player when he's almost the first one to win. I know Tim Edmund was a British. There's the other one now who's number one for UK. He's from
the fellow got to the semi-final or something, didn't he? Yeah,
quarters, I think. Yeah,
was it quarters?
Yeah, I can't remember which country he's actually from, but yeah. So obviously now he's a British player, and then obviously you got the Wimbledon British winner, the Scottish player,
Raducanu, or what's her name?
Raducanu, obviously. Yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden they get hyped up.
It's just funny I just love the hypocrisy. Like, I enjoy seeing the hypocrisy and calling it out, and I enjoy seeing people being selectively blind to the hypocrisy as well. It's just they play a little bit of mental gymnastics, and this is kind of like some kind of crazy game. Anyway, we are heading into the break.
Oh my God, are we?
Yeah, exactly. That's you arrived 10 minutes late, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You only had a 50-minute first half. We'll be back in about 4 minutes, guys, and we'll be talking about football. We'll be talking about Ronaldo. We'll be talking about Liverpool. We'll be talking about United's chances.
Women's final.
And we'll be talking about Erling Haaland. We might talk about the women's final as well. So come and join us in about 4 minutes.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Gurbani. It is the greatest sacrifice, a sacrifice that you feel, something of value that you part with, enough to draw you closer to Allah. It is the joy and hope of those in need, the essence of your faith, and your submission to Allah. This year, offer the greatest sacrifice with Muslim hands from £35 to £245. To order now, visit muslimhands.org.uk.
हाँ जी जनाब आज तुसने किया 12 बजे जरा फैमिली की बाहर खड़ना चाहना या खिलाने पिलाने से सोचना कुथे जाओ इसी च परेशानी वाली कड़ी गल है इब्राहिमी बफे रेस्टोरेंट पर जाओ उते फ्री पार्क करो उन्होंने मजेदार ते स्वादले पाकिस्तानी इंडियन चाइनीज ते इटालियन आय 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 खाने ना ते जोड़ी कोई नहीं नाले सस्ते ते स्वादले ए थे रक्स इसका मतलब है बटवा भी नहीं होला होनेगा इब्राहिमी बफे रेस्टोरेंट वैरायटी ऑफ डिलीशियस डिशेस के अलावा जेलाटो आइसक्रीम एंड वॉफल्स भी करते हैं वीकेंड्स पर अपना टेबल बुक करवाइए और वीकडेज तशरीफ ले आइए ओपनिंग आवर्स शाम 5 बजे से रात 10:30 बजे तक इब्राहिमी रेस्टोरेंट 63 Sycamore Avenue Peterborough PE1 4JP टेलीफोन 01733 313131
HS Lawyers make it so simple. Contact Majid Sarwar or Asad Arif today for any matters relating to immigration, family, business or property. Google HS Lawyers to see why we're the highest reviewed firm in Peterborough, with over 500 testimonies on our honesty, speed and excellent communication, making your legal matter simple, easy and stress-free. Contact us today on 01733 703 978. That's 01733 703 978 or email us at peterborough@hs-lawyers.co.uk. HS Lawyers, built on values of integrity and respect, with offices in Peterborough and throughout the West Midlands.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh queen cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakein.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
idea for a show and want to get involved, email info@salamradio.co.uk.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're into the second half of the show. I'm here, ably supported by Sadat Akram, and on the phone with Rashid Ansari. Assalamu alaikum to you both.
Islam.
So, back to the second half of the show. Rashid, you are there, right? We haven't lost you?
Yep. No, I'm here.
Good lad. Yeah, it was a bit muffled. I was thinking you're probably having your lunch or something, right?
Samosa.
It's probably a samosa, isn't it?
Samosa. Rashid, are you a samosa man?
I do like a samosa, but we're having a drink of water.
Oh, fair play, fair play. We're going to move on to the football now, and I'm going to go straight in the Lionesses. Are we excited about tonight? What's the situation? Why are we not following it like we follow the men's football? What is wrong with this? Are we just sexist,
I
misogynist?
watched a few not a whole game, but watched a few moments of it, and it's all right. It's not too bad. It's
that
okay.
Back heel
It's
goal
good.
is quite special.
Which one was that one?
The back heel goal in the.
Oh yeah. The back heel. Sorry, I thought you said. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
so she's a Man United player apparently.
Say that again. So, she's a Man United player.
As is the goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, and the two.
Sorry. Look, I mean, so one thing is, like, whenever something like a silly mistake occurs in women's football, like there's lots and lots of memes that go around and videos and all that, and oh my god, I can't believe this happened, and that kind of stuff happens and it belittles the game. But I've seen a lot of support for the game as well, especially recently. But also, I didn't even know that there was a fully established women's league back like in the 1900s, early 1900s. And
that far back?
Yeah, apparently it used to attract. Right, did you know about this? They used to attract like 50,000 plus crowds,
really?
And then it got banned.
I mean, look, the truth is, there was, especially around the Second World War, when all the men went off fight, the women became literally started playing football, and they were getting huge crowds, up to 100,000, and it was
my god!
And as soon as the Second World War ended, to protect the men's games, the FA then banned women from playing professionally. So till like the late 90s, early 2000s, the women playing professionally were banned, and it was amateur football for women.
Why is this country so oppressive to women, Rashid? I don't get it.
Shocking behaviour.
It has been detrimental to the women's game. It's only about 2019 the women's game went professional, as in the funding came in, and was it the Women's Super League was set up? And then you've had them since the growth in the women's game. So the women's game has been.
Yeah, even the big clubs, like I think United only 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago entered into the Women's League.
Well, no, so there was a Women's United team, then it got
shut down. Yeah.
And then it's only like once the Women's Super League was set up and whatever, then it was a couple of seasons later after that, then United then set up a women's team. And the funding came in and all the rest of it. So, the women's game was chronically underfunded for 50 years, and it was oppressed and whatever. So they're catching up.
And this season, they even have the bigger games on the main ground. So at Old Trafford, I think. At City's ground, it's going to be Man United vs City rather than they normally play the women's game on the training grounds, for example.
So I mean,
we're going to use stadium.
They're changing the mindset of the consumer, which is us, because there's a story that pops up on Sky News that says United in the hunt for a talented player from City, and you're thinking, who the heck are United after? And it's the women's game, and they do that.
You see WSL,
it does get you for a little while, but then that's changing the mindset, right? Why should you automatically expect when it says Man United? Why should you automatically expect for the men's team and so on? So I get that, but okay. Aside from all that, political rubbish. How well are they doing? I mean, that's fantastic. They beat Sweden in the semi-final, the number 2 ranked team in Europe. That's a fantastic result, right? We were not likely to, we were not expected to win, and we won so comfortably.
I wouldn't say we were expected to win. They've had a good tournament, so they expected it to be the toughest game.
No, the truth is, things have changed. It's the manager, Serena Wiegman, and she was the previously manager
Dutch.
of the Dutch.
The Dutch. And they won it under her, didn't they?
Female Dutch, the
female Dutch, So they won it under her.
They won it under her, and then they got to the World Cup final under her, and then lost to the United States.
Of course, United States just smash it every year.
And so since they got rid of Phil Neville and then the manager before him as well, whatever, they were getting up to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and getting knocked out. And again, that was progression for England. Now with teams under Serena Wiegman, she knows how to coach. She's great tactically astute. She's really, she knows what she's doing. Formerly had 100 was capped for 104 times for the Netherlands as a player. And all
Wow.
that.
Okay.
So do you think the
proper
appointment
genuine
do you
pedigree.
think appointment of Phil Neville at the time was just a token appointment, or should it be because he was an ex-Premier League and it wasn't more of a football reason?
It was former United player, wasn't it? It was a name.
Yeah, there was a name. It was a big name.
It helped. It just helped in terms of putting the women or the England national team in the public eye. But again, it was around the time, again, without going back to obviously the first half, it was around again on the racism that was involved in the women's football. Yeah, and there was and he had coaching limitations and all the rest of it. But Serena Wiedmann has taken England to a different level and a different standard.
Okay, so what are your predictions for today then? Because we are playing Germany.
They've never
Germany
won, have they? They've never.
absolutely-
England also have never. The female women team have never won the Euros either.
they've not won any major tournaments.
No, well,
Yeah.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, they haven't won any major tournaments. But at the moment of the Euros, they got to the final before. I think is it 1990? They got to the final, something like that. I can't remember when they said the last. 2009. That's it.
Germany 5-2. I still think Germany will win this. It's bad to say, but I just think because Germany have won the Euros 8 times. They've been in 8 finals and they won it 8 times. And England women have only beaten German women 3 times out of 21, 24 games.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's coming home.
Is it coming home?
It's coming home.
The last time England played Germany, though, I think England beat Germany, didn't they? I'm sure I read that somewhere. The last time England and
And in
Germany
the finals,
played.
is it the first time they're in the finals in the UK for the women?
You know what? The stars are just aligning. I just got a good feeling.
It's coming home. It's coming.
Football's
coming home.
It happens, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Because after all, it's England and they're Germany.
Yeah. I just hope it doesn't go to penalties. That's my secret wish, is it doesn't go to penalties. Although it'd be funny to watch penalties, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on. Another big game on this afternoon. Manchester United versus Real Vallecano.
Yep, friendly.
Friendly
Yeah,
game.
you played yesterday. They 2 games in 2 days.
Yep.
Wow.
So is
Ronaldo starts today.
Cristiano Ronaldo
Ronaldo's
starting?
first game.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. What's the situation with Cristiano Ronaldo? Like, just be frank, Sadat. Just be frank. What is the situation?
This, what, you hear all sorts. Yeah,
Just be
I
frank,
mean,
though.
what has he come out and said?
What has he actually come out and said?
Yeah.
Well,
He's not said he wants
He's
to
come out
leave.
and said, "I'm going to come and I'm going to train professionally."
Yeah.
After missing 3 weeks of training.
For personal reasons.
That's what he said. Yeah.
That's what United Ten Hag has also said. It was for personal reasons. So you can only, take it for their word for it, and that's what it says, and that's what's happened. I mean, I understand.
So you're saying he's not unhappy at Man United?
I'm sure he is.
He is unhappy?
I'm sure he is. He's unhappy because he wants to play at the highest level. He's not got many years left. And but saying that, when a manager comes out and says he's an important part of my team, of my plans, essentially building a team around him, I think he needs to be a bit more grown up.
Do you think he should just stay? Because
Yes,
I
I think.
to
Well,
me,
if a player doesn't want to stay, I think no matter how big it's like the Pogba situation, everything. If a player doesn't want to get stayed, then
I like you. I'm a United fan. Let's be honest about this. Ronaldo wants to leave. Okay, he wants to leave. He's
thanks,
United
Rashid.
and
I mean, I'm
all
talking to
that.
somebody who's actually
He wants
being.
to
I did
win-
say he wants to
to
leave.
win Ballon d'Ors and all of that. He
Yeah.
wants to rival Messi. He's very single-minded. He believes it's all about himself. It's not about the club and all the rest of it. That's fine. But then he should have told United. He knew United were not going to win the Champions League in May. He should have made his intentions very clear. And not only that, him and his ridiculous agent, why did they not put a clause into his contract last year? And why did they say if United don't make the Champions League, he gets to leave or he leaves on a nominal fee? None of that. He's got a 2-year contract, but he wants to leave 1 year after because he's not going to be in the Champions League. He can't win Ballon d'Ors and compete with Messi and all the rest of it. Okay, I get that. And the other thing is, there's 25% pay cut in all United players' contracts if they don't make the Champions League. So that means from 500,000, he's going down to 360,000.
So his pay cut is probably more than what a lot of players at United are actually getting paid per week.
ouch.
Yeah, especially how that Pogba and the others have left. No, so the reality simply is, he wants to leave, right? United don't necessarily want him to leave, but there's no club that's come in for him yet because of his wages
Yeah, this is the other thing. Like
and his age.
I think you make some fantastic points. I think he absolutely should have had a clause in his contract that said something along those lines. But I have to be honest, when I was sat here last year, I was thinking, you've signed Ronaldo, probably the best player in the world ever. You've signed Varane, multiple Champions League winner. You've signed best young player in the world, Sancho. That's what I thought at the time, and this can only go one way for you. So him having the oversight of not including that clause in the contract, I don't think you can blame him, because everything looked right for you. And you finished second the season before, right?
Yep.
You finished second, you were in the Champions League, and then you made all these massive investments on, I think, the right players. I don't think the players were wrong. I just feel like it just didn't go right for you. So yeah, maybe an oversight, but one that you could possibly understand. Where does he go from here? Do you reckon he stays? Sadat, would you reckon he stays now, or do you reckon?
I think, like I said, it's not as if there's another club come in. I think if another club had come in, then I think Ten Hag looks like the manager would have said, "All right, if you want to go." I just don't think.
I would happily let him leave, because I think the style of football that Ten Hag wants to play, high pressing and all the rest of it, you can't do that with Ronaldo. And I think.
Have you seen any of the pre-season games? I mean, I say that. I know you have, but yeah. I mean, has the style? I'll be honest. I haven't managed to get to see any of the pre-season games. So has the style changed? Has it? Yes. Does it look different? Does it look fresh?
It looks okay. It looks impressive, honestly. And
I'm not joking because of the Liverpool 4-1. I mean, it's all pre-season at this stage.
Listen, the 4-1 only happened because of style of play. Because the front three of Rashford, Sancho, and Martial, quick, athletic, were able to press tight and team press tight, including Bruno Fernandes. And the Liverpool defenders were pressured into making mistakes. And from a high press, you were able to get the ball in the final third.
How good were they yesterday? Against Atletico United.
Okay, I didn't see that.
United were very good in the first half. Atletico basically played a low block, and they were just dirty.
That was a smash and grab. That's typical Atletico. That was a smash and grab.
But that's been United's issue for most seasons since Ferguson's gone. They can't break down a team.
But Atletico Madrid are probably the best in the world at playing the low block. They are the biggest challenge. If they're going to sit back and ask you to break them down, they're probably the biggest challenge.
And there was Sancho was out. He's got a cold or whatever, and there was no Ronaldo. So United.
Who looks like the player for you then at the moment to look out under Ten Hag with United? The one player, the main player.
Eriksen, he came on yesterday. Only played 20 minutes. He was different class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't off.
That boy is different grade.
Bruno. Did he come on for Bruno? Did he play alongside with Bruno?
I think they both could play as long as they've got a player that can play at the back four.
They've got a really good signing.
They've always had good signings. United.
They've got a really good signing.
They've always had Eriksen's a great signing. I mean, next season in hindsight, we'll say we'll probably think, oh no, we picked the wrong player.
No, Eriksen's a great signing.
Now at this stage, I would say he's a great signing.
Eriksen's a great signing because he facilitates this.
Robert, Benjamin Sesko, United need to sign Benjamin Sesko. We've been talking about him about over a month ago now on our group.
Yep.
And rumours are now coming out about him. Benjamin Sesko is the real deal. You heard it on here, on Salaam Radio.
Yeah, okay. We're talking about potential signings then. What about Anthony? Is that going to happen? Because I'm excited to see him in the Premier League, although I don't necessarily want him to go to United. I think he's fantastic.
Well, it depends. If Anthony, we may get Ahmad and Akbar though.
No, is it going to happen? Seriously, Anthony, is it going to happen? Is there a serious, will to get him in? Or
it's the finances. It's whether United want roughly saying 50 million. Ajax want roughly 70 million, and I don't know if the compromise can be reached.
Meet in the middle.
Well, Sully reckons Ronaldo is starting to. I think you've confirmed that, Rashid. Sully also goes, Sancho will be good for United.
Nunez for Liverpool. Let's move on to Nunez. Did he look good? He looked good yesterday at Charity Shield when he came on.
He's got another question.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Have United signed Frankie yet?
Frankie, no.
FDJ. Rashid, we've been following that. I've been seeing tweets about that move, non-move, potential move. Could it happen? Is it happening?
How many times it said is it close? Is it close? How close do you have to be?
It's inevitable. Barcelona can't sign any. Apparently, Barcelona couldn't sign anybody until they sold him, and they've signed like 12 players now.
No, they can't register. There's a problem with basically Barcelona
can't pay his wages.
Frankie de Jong 17 million. Until they pay him 17, that 17 million, he's not going to leave Barcelona.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's move on from United. Actually, just before we do, both of you, honest opinions. I'm going to put you on the spot. What would be a successful season for United?
Top four.
And you don't care about any of the cups, any runs, anything like that?
They get a good run to it. Yeah, if they get to a semi-final final.
Win the Europa League, top four, that thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
A win in the Europa League and top four would be a good season. Top four would just be an adequate season, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Sully, you know what? You read my mind because I was going to say exactly the same thing. He goes, the one to watch out for is Carvalho. And I mentioned him early doors. Rashid, you might remember I mentioned him as well when we signed him when there wasn't much activity in the market. This guy's a special little player signed from Fulham. Only 16 or 17? How old is he? 17? He's probably 16. The guy came on for Luis Diaz. Yeah, I only got 4 minutes. But just the composure to get the ball cut inside, hold it for a little second, play out to Salah for that cross that ultimately led to Nunez's goal. That was him. And the fact that, he can come up against Manchester City in his debut, one of the, first games that he plays for Liverpool, and the fact that there's so much trust in him, I think that's a wonderful piece of business that's gone below the radar.
Without taking anything from the win from Liverpool, do you think City were undercooked?
Yeah, of course.
Again?
Yeah, of course.
Right, so Liverpool finished second in the Premier League last season by 1 point to Man City.
Yep.
They finished second, runners up in the Champions League. You've signed a €100 million striker in Nunez.
Yeah.
How far can you surpass Man City and win the Premier League? Will you be able to win the Champions League this season?
All right. So I'll answer the question.
What's the priority out of the two?
I'll answer the question with a question. I will. I would say, Rashid, if you at Man United had a choice today to pick either Darwin Núñez or Sadio Mane, who would you choose?
I'd probably choose Sadio Mane.
I was going to say the same.
There we go. So we've not strengthened, we've weakened, and it's cost us money.
But Mane's proven.
Of course he's proven.
Hang on. You signed Diaz to replace, and Diaz has hit the ground running, great form, everything, right? You've got Salah, Firmino, Mane, Jota, and now you've got Núñez.
We don't have Mane.
No, not Mane, Jota.
Oh, yeah, so we've got Jota, Diaz, Firmino, Salah, and Núñez. Yeah, absolutely.
That's five top players in your front line.
Yeah.
And you get to pick three, and two rotate.
Don't get me wrong. Liverpool fans are not unhappy with the way the transfers, the transfer window has gone
the
for
two
us so
players
far.
that are possibly leaving, I know Mane has gone. There was Salah and Mane. Who would you have rather? Would you have rather kept Salah over Mane or Mane over Salah?
You know what?
Salah.
Now that Salah's here, I'd say rather Salah. But at that point,
I
was saying Mane has to stay.
Yeah,
Mane has to stay.
He's gone,
He does relentless work for the team. Absolutely buys into the DNA of the way we play, and he is an unsung hero. And he goes and he goes and he goes again.
It's like the Rooney Ronaldo question when they're at their peak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Salah and Mane.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's. I don't think they're at that level. They're very good, but I don't think they're at the Ronaldo Rooney level when flipping Tevez couldn't get a game when those two were on fire. It was just ridiculous how good they were. But yeah, that's how I feel. So how do I feel? I feel like we've definitely invested. We absolutely had to invest.
What about the other clubs around them, like Chelsea? They've invested.
Chelsea have invested loads. Yeah, and then Chelsea's invested loads. Tottenham.
No. Chelsea have tried to buy players.
Chelsea have invested loads of Barcelona's money into Barcelona players, yeah.
I got Raheem Sterling, didn't they? From Liverpool, from City. Sorry, I mean I'm surprised City let him go. To be honest, to a rival club, but I reckon he'll do well.
Yeah, I think he will. Let's go back to your question about how I think Liverpool will do. I think Liverpool will compete. I think Liverpool will definitely be aiming to win the Premier League. With the Champions League, you can never tell because you might get knocked out in the groups. You might get knocked out, a freak result in the quarterfinals. It's a weird one. Over the course of a season, the best team wins, and that's why City beat us last year. They were the best team.
Jesus could be the signing of the season. I reckon he'll be probably leading goal scorer.
Barring mass injuries to Virgil van Dijk and Salah, both of them stay fit. Liverpool will be very, very close, or they'll win the Premier League or Champions League. If both are fit and things go Liverpool's way, Liverpool will win everything. The Champions League.
Do you know what? I don't know. I find it difficult to see past this City team. Honestly, I do. I just don't get it. Sully's made a few comments, and we'll read them out. Sully reckons it's going to be City and Liverpool 1 and 2, and then the controversial ones. He thinks Spurs and Arsenal are going to pip Chelsea and United. He's got Spurs third and
I
Arsenal
reckon
fourth.
Chelsea would be ahead of Spurs and Arsenal.
I think United will be, but then again, like
If United can sign Frankie de Jong, then I'd back
Yes.
United to break into the top 4 easily. But we don't know. But no, I feel like the problem I think has shown yesterday is can City re-engineer their playing style to suit Haaland. I think Alvarez is fine because Alvarez is a type of player, and United were offered him, and I looked at him 6-7 months ago, that he can play as a number 10 or he can play as wide or as a number 9.
Yeah.
Alvarez will fit in. It's Haaland. How will Haaland fit the style of play, and can City adapt their style of play to get Haaland going?
Yeah, because they showed yesterday, didn't they? He made some great runs, and then just the way the City played, they didn't put the ball through.
Are we gonna have a laugh at his miss? Can we have a laugh at his miss?
Can have a laugh at his miss. He who laughs loudest.
That was ridiculous, and even he laughed at himself because he was like, you know what, that was an absolute sitter.
Yeah,
but
it
you're
was
right to mention
counted.
Alvarez. Alvarez looks really, really promising. I think Alvarez's arrival probably spells the end for Bernardo Silva. I think there was talk about him going to Barcelona. That may or may not happen. If it does, as good as Bernardo is, Alvarez looks the real deal. Who knows? Time will tell. I think Phil Foden, I keep saying this, Rashid, you know this, so that you've heard me say this as well. Phil Foden's an absolute animal, man. The guy is just, he's so good and so young, and he can impact the game from deep, from wide, from central.
He could be a Conte
He's
or
just-
a Mane. Or,
Glad you said
say, no.
He could be a Conte.
Yeah.
He can.
Wasn't a pause.
and then you know, De
For
Bruyne.
City, as
De
they were.
Bruyne in patches look like world class, one of the best players in the world, and then he goes
I
off
thought
and
he had a
Gundogan
poor
comes on.
game. I thought he had a poor game yesterday. De
That's what I
Bruyne.
said in patches.
Yeah.
There's just bits that you do.
Yeah.
So I feel it's really difficult to see past City, and it's difficult for Liverpool because we're not the only team hunting them down.
No, I think it'll be much. Yeah, I think the other clubs or teams will take points off them more this season than the
Last year it
previous
looked
seasons.
like it was going to be a 3-horse race, and then Chelsea fell off.
Yeah, I think there'll be, and those games will be critical. The Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, United games against them, they'll be critical. It's going to be difficult. I can't see it.
I just want to talk a little bit about Nunes and what I saw, and how I think he's going to impact on our ability. So you know how we've got Firmino, best defensive striker in the world ever, right? Nunes, Rashid, did you see the game yesterday at all? Rashid, are you there? Oh no, I think we've lost Rashid. Just you into that. Studio manager, can you call Rashid back? I think he
makes sense.
He does make sense. We just ramble on. But the thing I saw about Nunes, and this is what you don't get with Firmino, is Firmino absolutely does the running, and he absolutely gets a toe poke in where he helps win the ball. Once the ball is won, he wants to be in the build-up to put in Salaam on. Right? Nunes doesn't. Nunes goes, wins the ball, and hits the space.
Yeah.
He's like, just give me the ball now.
He's a tank as well,
beyond the
isn't he?
back line, and he is a tank. So yesterday he scored the header, decent header, won the penalty.
I had a couple of other chances in
Couple
between.
of other chances, yeah. One was a really good save, and one he probably should have done better, to be fair. And one was a header that just went wide.
Yeah.
Rashid, are you back with us? Hello, Rashid, are you back with us?
No, he's gone.
That calls in it. Okay,
Talk
yeah,
to
never
me.
mind. Yeah, so I genuinely think he's going to get a lot of goals for us, and I think he's going to be a different type of player to Firmino. That's clear.
He's the unknown, isn't he? Even for the defenders who are playing against him, they don't know much about him or how he's going to come out.
Well, I feel like he's an Erling Haaland wannabe. Plays a very similar game. He'll get involved. He's
But he'll get. Liverpool is a better style than City for that type of player. I think Haaland would score more goals if he was in Liverpool than he'd be at City.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not putting him down in any sense. I'm just saying that the style that they play, because the runs he made yesterday not getting put through, I think a couple of times he could have got goals.
Yeah,
for him
and they'll watch that back. They'll watch that back, and they'll say, "Oh, there's something to fix it."
But again, like I said, City undercooked, and if they start slow like they have been doing in previous seasons, I think Liverpool, that's where the opportunity is if they start fast.
Do you think Liverpool can go again after going for literally to the last kick of last season? They were going. They started from the first to the last.
Again, it was like United were better the season after when they had just not won it. It gave you that extra hunger, gave you that thing, and say, right, we can go, we can do this.
Yeah,
you know that not winning that first division against, was it Leeds at the time before it went to Premier League?
Yeah.
And then they just went stronger the next season.
They got Cantona, and it's like us getting De Bruyne. I think we'd win it if we bought De Bruyne. Do you get it?
It was, it takes that one player sometimes, you think, but they all knew how it felt not to win.
Yeah.
And for Liverpool being that close and then only to be in a cup team.
That's for, as a Liverpool fan, that's the most satisfying thing for me. Is the game I saw yesterday showed we had the hunger.
Longest they don't do what United did. Came second one season and 6th or 7th the other season.
Is that, yeah, that's what we did last year. Really.
After signing, like you say, some good players.
Exciting times, guys. We're quickly running out of time, but do let us know what you want us to talk about at the next show. Obviously, the Premier League season doesn't kick off for another week, so next week's gonna be the first week, isn't it? Yeah. So it's gonna be big, exciting.
And there's gonna be a pause then in between for the World Cup.
That's going to be interesting as well, isn't it?
That could affect the season more than we've not really mentioned that, do we? That could be effective.
Yeah, we could talk about the World Cup during the World Cup, can't we?
No, but the pause, how that will affect the run for the Premier League, I think that will hinder them.
What did you see? Jurgen Klopp was complaining about how quickly he had to.
Complaining. Klopp complaining.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
It was weird.
His face full of smiles. He is.
And they're like, "Well, City have got the same thing now."
He didn't like it because this Charity Shield was earlier than normal, isn't it?
Yeah, earlier
because of the World Cup.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we're all out of time, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Rasha, thank you, even though you got cut off. Sadat, thank you very much. And to all of our listeners, we will speak again